Okay, so I was talking to an agency yesterday about stuff, and they said, it's so comforting to hear that there's a bunch of other agencies struggling with this too. So I have a new thing that I'm going to do on the weekends. It's called "This is what I heard this week." Let me try that again. What I heard this week, whatever. Agency field notes. I hooked up Claude to what's that thing that I use? Zoom. I hooked it up to Zoom, and every week I just say pull all my conversations with agency leaders and put it into this briefing. So the number one thing I was talking about this week, there was a few things. There was role clarity, confusion, AM over PM. I talk about that a lot. AI powered account ops. Obviously, I'm going absolutely nutso with this. And then leadership transitions. So, um, but the main thing is the resistance to account growth. And it's kind of funny because it pulls out sort of quotes. Here's what I'm hearing: We can't grow until we hire somebody. The team is overwhelmed right now. We need more process before we can sell more. And you know me and just how much process I have and how frustrating that is. We don't need more process. The client hasn't asked for it yet. The reality is that overwhelm becomes a shield against uncomfortable conversations. The documentation exists, the strategy exists. It's just not being adopted. Uh, the weekly status calls are totally tactical. Nobody's thinking strategically about how to grow clients, and the reality is that growth requires people to do different things, and it's all about change management. And so, anyway, I think this is a really cool. I think it's a really cool thing. It gives you insight into what I'm actually talking about with paid agency advisory, because most of the people I meet don't work with me, and they just wonder. They wonder what it's like working with Max. And again, I come back to, like, my job is to give you permission to do the things that you're already fairly certain you need to do, because they're not rocket science. You need to grow accounts. We know that. We've agreed on that. Why am I still having a majority of my conversations about the general resistance to grow those accounts? Let's see what to do. Record 1 week of oh, I love this. Record 1 week of client calls. Count how many minutes are strategic versus tactical. I do this in a call grader. If it's 80+% tactical, that's a structural problem, not a people problem. You need someone like me to come in, create the structure to have strategic conversations, and then deal with everybody complaining that they don't understand there's not enough process. Process first, and then we'll take a look at the people. Cheers.